Well, it's the 16th of January 2015. You're joining us live and direct on the news at 9, coming to you from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. I'm Joel Outscored.
And I'm Florin Rajendran. Before going the stories in detail, here's a look at tonight's headlines. President Maithripala Sirisena appointed chairman of the SLFP unanimously. Several ministers and deputy ministers assumed duties. Stocks of illegal goods discovered in containers stored at the BMICH premises.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa in a statement today announced that he will be heading over the position of Sri Lanka Freedom Party chairman to President Maithripala Sirisena.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that he reached this decision as he has great dislike to see the SLFP face a danger of division, having held membership and various officers including the party leadership and having nurtured and safeguarded the party with great dedication over 50 years. The statement reads further that it is the responsibility of those who love the party to ensure the unity of the party which has helped protect and develop the motherland. Mahinda Rajapaksa points out that it is his belief that all those in the SLFP will pay heed to the responsibility of ensuring the safety and security of all party members as well as upholding democracy within the party. The former president further emphasizes that he will strongly represent the wishes and aspirations of more than 5.7 million members of the public who voted for him at the recent presidential election.
Meanwhile, the SLFP Central Committee today endorsed the handover of the party leadership to President Maithripala Sirisena.
MP A.H.M. Fauzi noted that following endorsement by the Central Committee, the appointment of President Maithripala Sirisena as the SLFP chairman was adopted unanimously by the Executive Committee, which met this evening. The committee had also endorsed the appointment of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa and Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga as patrons of the SLFP. MP Andhra Priyadashana will continue to function as the General Secretary of the party. MP H.M. Fauzi added that Nimal Siripala de Silva has been appointed opposition leader, while WDJ Seneviratne has been appointed Chief Opposition Whip.
Let's take a look back at the histories of the former and current leaders of SLFP.
Mahinda Rajapaksa is undoubtedly a leader who has accomplished much for the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, as a member who was devoted to the success of the party and as its chairman for a decade. He was appointed the SLFP organizer for the Beliatta electorate in 1968, and 2 years later he was elected to Parliament, becoming the youngest parliamentarian. He has rendered an immeasurable service to the country in the capacity of Minister, Opposition Leader, Prime Minister and as President. In 2009 he took the fore in eradicating terrorism from the country with the support of former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa and then Army Commander Sarath Fonseca. In 2010, he was re-elected as President and went on to become the Chair in Office of the Commonwealth, undertaking a major effort to raise the country's profile globally in line with the policies of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. His final act of service as head of state was the invitation extended to His Holiness Pope Francis to undertake a historic visit to Sri Lanka. News First extends its best wishes to former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. President Maithripala Sirisena, who takes over chairmanship of the SLFP from Mahinda Rajapaksa today, is a leader who has been dedicated to the party for many years. At the age of 17, President Sirisena was appointed as the secretary of the SLFP youth organization in Polonnaruwa. President Sirisena was even made to endure detention at the Batticaloa prison during the 1971 insurrection on behalf of his party, and in 1978 he became a full-time member of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. He climbed the ladder in the SLFP Youth Federation, holding various positions, and in 1982 he entered Parliament with the blessings of his constituents. In 2001, he was appointed General Secretary of the SLFP and has served the country while holding various ministerial portfolios. Maithripala Sirisena is recognized as a fearless leader who has held the position of Acting Minister of Defence on 5 previous occasions, including during the final days of the war in May 2009. In 2013, Maithripala Sirisena was recognized with awards from the World Health Organization and Harvard University. Like his predecessor, he holds the distinction of being a devoted SLFPer who has never abandoned the party. News First extends its congratulations to President Maithripala Sirisena, who will function as the chairman of the SLFP from today.
Minister Lakshman Kiriella has been appointed Leader of the House in Parliament. Minister Gayantha Karunathilaka has been confirmed the position of Chief Government Whip. Meanwhile, a special meeting was held today between Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and the UNP ministers, deputy ministers and MPs.
The Prime Minister's office noted that the meeting was held at Temple Trees today. A group of UNP parliamentarians, including ministers, state ministers and deputy ministers, participated at this meeting. Subsequently, the group toured the interior and the gardens of Temple Trees and observed the sights.
අපි කනගාටු වෙනවා අපේ ජනතාවගෙන් සමාව ඉල්ලනවා මේ හොරුන් පැනලයන්ට ඉස්සලා නවත්ත ගන්න බෑ.
We are disappointed and we beg forgiveness from the people for failing to stop these rogues before they left. We said on stage that we would stop them. We got the most applause and the biggest response when we said we would close the airport and stop these thieves. At present, I am sad to say that we have failed to capture 5 of the thieves.
ඒ හොරුන් අල්ලන එක 5 දෙනෙක්ව අල්ලන එක අල්ලගන්න අසමත් වෙලා තියෙනවා කියන එක. ගියක් හදාගන්න බැරුව.
At a time when there are people in this country who can barely have a square meal each day, let alone build a house, the sin that these people have committed by stealing all this money will not be covered by 7 generations to come.
On to a developing story this evening, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe assumed duties as the country's Prime Minister today, subsequent to religious observances at Temple Trees.
A large group, including the Mahasangha, were present for the event organized to mark the Prime Minister's assumption of duties today. Conducting the religious ceremony, Venerable Dr. Ittapani Dhammalanka said that politicians and officials alike need to be honest and committed to establish good governance and a disciplined government.
Ministers and deputy ministers of the new government assumed duties in their respective portfolios today.
Dr. Rajitha Senaratne, the new Minister of Health and Indigenous Medicine, officially assumed duties today at the Ministry of Health. President Maithripala Sirisena too graced the occasion.
The President told me that he too will arrive at the Ministry of Health. Never in my lifetime have I heard of a President who visits a ministry at the time when duties are being assumed. This is a new era. This is called good governance. We will commence this health service from the very point it was being oppressed. There are 2 historic bills that saw setbacks. When our President was the Health Minister, he brought forward the Health Bill. I will bring in that very Health Bill within 100 days and pass it in Parliament under his leadership and implement it. The 80% pictorial warning bill on cigarette packs will be put to the Cabinet once again and will be implemented within 100 days. What he was not allowed to do will be carried out by us for the greater good of the public.
දුම්වැටි පනත නැවත මම කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලය හරහා වහාම ගැහැණලා 180 නැවත ඒ අවවාද මේ දින 100 ඇතුළේ මම කරනවා.
Arjuna Ranatunga, the new Minister of Ports and Shipping, took up his duties today at the Ministry of Ports and Shipping in Fort Colombo this morning.
අපි දැක්ක මේ ආයතනයේ ලොකු ප්‍රශ්න ගොඩක් තිබිච්ච ආයතනයක්. I think ඒකේ ඒ ප්‍රශ්න
This was an institution that suffered many issues. We will not allow those issues to be covered up or boxed up. The people expect that if malpractices have taken place, those found guilty of doing so will be punished. We have witnessed that some contracts are being carried out with unnecessary expenses. What we want is to uplift this institution and commence investigations into the incidents of the past and also take legal action regarding them.
නීති මාර්ගයේ කටයුතු කරන්න අපි ඉදිරියට වග බලා ගන්නවා.
Vijayadasa Rajapaksa, the Minister of Justice, and his deputy Sujiva Senasinghe both assumed duties today at the Ministry of Justice this morning, giving priority to religious observances.
රටේ තිබෙන අනික් සෑම අමාත්‍යාංශයකටම වඩා අධිකරණ අමාත්‍යාංශය
The Ministry of Justice is one of the key ministries when compared to the others. If the law fails, the entire nation fails. We came into power to make a change. We need to see that change. We need to witness it. The public administration of this country needs to be independent, as the judiciary needs to be independent.
ස්වාධීන වෙන්න ඕන, අධිකරණය ස්වාධීන වෙන්න ඕන.
නීතියක් පවතිනකන් විතරයි රටක් පවතින්නේ. පෞගේ කාල සීමාවේ
A nation will sustain only if there is a law. We did not see the law being implemented over the recent past. Yet we had sufficient laws in our law books. Under the 100-day program, we will undertake the task of making the legal changes.
සියලු වෙහෙස මහන්සි ගන්නවා කියන කාරණයක් මම සතුටින් මතක් කරනවා.
ඔය දූෂණ ගැන ගොඩක් කතා කරපු මන්ත්‍රීවරු අපි. ඉතින් ඒ හින්දා බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා විශේෂයෙන්ම
We spoke about corruption. Therefore, we hope that no leader would pressure us. When I was taking up a case, the relevant faction lodged a complaint against me that I had threatened them. Thereby, as the Deputy Minister of Justice, I request that this case be heard free from any influence from myself.
මේක කිසිම අපේ බලපෑමකින් තොරව මට විරුද්ධව මේ නඩුව විභාග කරන්න.
Minister of Public Administration, Democratic Rule and Buddha Sasana Kharu Jayasuriya assumed duties in his ministerial portfolio today at the Ministry of Buddha Sasana and Religious Affairs in Colombo 7. We
initiated this 100-day program and now we have 93 days left. We have numerous challenges ahead of us. The people gave us a mandate to establish a just government and society in 100 days. Therefore, through this ministry, we have a major task to accomplish.
Patali Champika Ranawaka, the new Minister of Power and Energy, gave priority to religious observances prior to assuming duties in his ministerial portfolio today at the Ministry of Petroleum Industries.
අපි මේ ඉදිරි දිනසිය ඇතුළත බලශක්ති ශේෂ්ත්‍රයේ අපි විප්ලවීය වෙනසක් ඇති කරනවා.
We will create a revolutionary change in the energy sector within the next 100 days. As a beginning to this, we will introduce a proper price formula for power and energy. We will abolish the burdening taxes imposed on the energy sector and petroleum sector and provide relief to the people. We will not only commit ourselves to prevent fraud and corruption at the ministry, we will also take necessary action against malpractices that have taken place in the past. We will also introduce a new mechanism to prevent these acts from taking place again.
අනාගතයේ එවැනි දේ සිදු නොවීමට අවශ්‍ය කරන යාන්ත්‍රණයන් සැකසීමත් අපි කරනවා.
Gayantha Karunathilake took up duties as the new Minister of Media this morning at the Ministry of Mass Media and Information.
මාධ්‍යවේදීන් ඝාතනය වී අතුරුදහන් වීම මාධ්‍යවේදීන්ගේ අතපය කැඩුවා. නොමිලේ කොණ්ඩේ කැපුවා, රැවුල කැපුවා. තර්ජන ගර්ජන හමුවේ.
In the past, journalists were murdered, abducted and kidnapped. In addition, injuries were inflicted on journalists. In the face of all these intimidations, talented journalists were forced to go into exile. Today you have the freedom to write what you want. This is the era of the compassionate rule and good governance. Therefore, I take this opportunity to send a message to those journalists in exile to return and show their talents once again. Every citizen is entitled to the right to information, and we will introduce that bill in 100 days.
ඒ තොරතුරු දැනගැනීමේ අයිතිය ඒ පනත හරහා අපි ලබා දෙන්නට දින 100 ඇතුළත බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
It was Venerable Madhulave Sobhithero who brought in the concept of a common candidate at the recent presidential election, steering it into a completely unexpected direction. It was amidst greatest difficulties that the Venerable Thero undertook the task of putting forward a common candidate for the presidential election.
During the pre-election period, Venerable Maduluwave Sobithathera came forward with the idea of a common candidate with a collective of views that were being expressed aimed at one common goal.
A common policy, a common candidate and a common symbol. There will be changes in the future. There will be major changes. We do not wish for a political victory. We seek a policy-based victory.
The dream of the Venerable Thera, who stepped out without fear to achieve victory for the people through the victory of the common candidate, has become a reality today.
The National Freedom Front convened a media briefing today. Its leader Vimal Weerawansa expressed the following views.
When President Maithripala Sirisena was just a candidate, we mentioned that we will render our support for the implementation of this 100-day program. We will not act in a manner that will sabotage this program. We also request our brethren from the Sri Lanka Freedom Party to not forget the aspirations of 5.8 million people. These people have many expectations from Mahinda Rajapaksa, the former president. They hope that he will come forward to face the challenges in the country and emerge victorious.
Mayor of Kaduvela G.H. Bujadasa convened a media briefing today. He stated that President Maithripala Sirisena will extend his assistance to the future of activities of the municipal council.
Just like all of you had requested, I have asked our new President Maithripala Sirisena to punish those criminals who have done wrong.
අන්තිමට කැස්බෑවේ රැස්වීම අවසාන රැස්වීම එක කියනවා ඇහුණා සිරිසේනෝ කියලා මොරහන් දෙන්න ගත්තා.
That is where the voter base of Mahinda Rajapaksa fell apart. We also believe that one of the reasons which hindered Mahinda Rajapaksa's victory was the speeches of Vimal Weerawansa. I will show you the 13-acre plot of land in Vaga, Padukka, which belongs to him. There's a 25-room hotel constructed here. The public should know this. I will be presenting this to the Independent Bribery Commission appointed by the President and the party.
අතුළු පක්ෂය පත් කරන ස්වාධීන අල්ලස් කොමිෂන් එකට මම මේවා ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා.
On to a headline-making story. 3 suspicious containers at the premises of the BMICH were sealed today with the intervention of the police. Police media spokesperson SSP Ajit Rona noted that goods bearing the symbol of the shawl were discovered within the 2 of the containers.
The operation was carried out following a tip-off that a stock of goods had been stored illegally at the BMICH premises. The raid was conducted by officers of the Kirulapana and Cinnamon Gardens police stations. Members of the anti-corruption movement were also present when the raid was carried out. Our reporter says that a total of about 25 containers which were at the premises of the BMICH were inspected by the authorities. Mugs with the shawl symbol and stickers of the image of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa were discovered in 3 of the containers. The police said that computer hardware was discovered in another container.
We call on His Excellency President Maithripala Sirisena to reveal this to the nation and take steps to ensure such crimes are not committed again. Do not defeat the battle that has commenced. This is why we propose the establishment of independent commissions to uphold law and justice. We cannot allow the law to be abused. The individual known as Karas Nagoda, who hid these goods, has functions as an executive grade officer in charge of the house. This is completely illegal. There was always someone here from the Bandaranayaka family. Even during the time of J.R. Jayawardena and Premadasa, there was someone from the Bandaranayaka family here. There hasn't been anyone from the Bandaranayaka family here since 2005.
Meanwhile, the anti-corruption movement attempted to raid several rooms at the BMICH following a tip-off that weapons had been stored there. However, the police noted that the rooms cannot be inspected as they had been sealed.
Information has come to light that unlicensed weapons belonging to a private security firm are being stored here. Nevertheless, the arms cache of the private security firm in question has been sealed. It will be opened and inspected in the future.
According to the police media spokesperson, there were unlicensed firearms at this location. If there were unlicensed firearms being stored at the BMICH, it must have been with the knowledge of the previous regime. These are not weapons which were hidden in a jungle area or in a culvert. These weapons were being stored in locked rooms at the BMICH. Thereby, there is a definite connection between these weapons and the previous regime. An immediate investigation should be launched into why these weapons were brought into the country and why they were being stored at the BMICH, along with goods that were to be distributed during the election. It must be revealed to the country immediately as to whether these weapons were brought in as part of the conspiracy that has caused much controversy or whether they were meant to assassinate opposition political activists.
Subsequent to taking office as the new Minister of Tourism, Navin Dissanayake visited Nuwara today.
Minister of Tourism Navin Dissanayake engaged in religious observances and invoked blessings at the Nuwara Sri Mahaviharaya. Thereafter, the minister met with the public.
When we counted votes, we made a historical record by winning with a margin of 100,000 in the Nuwara district. I know in my heart that President Maithripala Sirisena and Ranil Wickremesinghe will have a special plan and give more resources to the Nuwara district. We are experiencing a new political upliftment in the Nuwara district. The people here work together like brothers and sisters by joining hands with each other. Therefore, I am against the spread of racism in this district.
මේ සියලු දෙනාම අපි අත්වල බැඳගෙන සහෝදර සහෝදරයන් වශයෙන් ජීවත් වෙන ජනතාව. ඉතින් මේ දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ ජාතිවාදයේ වපුරන එකට මම නම් සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම විරුද්ධයි.
The director of the Media Centre of the Ministry of Defence, Brigadier Ruwan Wanigusuriya, says that the statements made on alleged incidents that have taken place in the north and east during the post-election period are baseless. The brigadier made this statement at a press conference convened today.
යාපනයේ හෝ වවුනියාවේ හෝ වෙනත් උතුරු ප්‍රදේශයේ කිසිදු දිස්ත්‍රික්කයකවත් නැගෙනහිර ප්‍රදේශයේ කිසිදු දිස්ත්‍රික්කයකවත්
I need to make it clear that no such incident has taken place in Jaffna or Vaunia or in any other districts in the north and the east. The peaceful environment that prevailed in all the other provinces of the country was experienced in these areas as well. Although there were no organized acts of violence related to the elections, if someone has been personally victimized, they can forward a complaint to the Additional Secretary of the Ministry of Defence, DMS Damayanti.
DMS Damayanti Jayaratna Methiniya පත් කරලා තිබෙනවා. එනම්
විවිධ අය දුරකථන ඇමතුම් මගින් අපගේ විමසා සිටියා.
We received phone calls from persons asking whether the Sri Lanka army would reduce its numbers. There will be no reduction in our numbers. The troops will be connected to the army and the development programs in the country will continue.
ඉදිරියේදී රටේ දියුණුව සඳහා ඒ කරන කර්තව්‍යයන් ඒ ආකාරයෙන්ම කරගෙන යනවා.
Brigadier Ruwan Wanigusuriya also commented on the withdrawal of army camps in the north and east.
ඉඩම් අක්කර 26000ක පමණ ප්‍රදේශයක් උතුරේ
Although a total of 26,000 acres of lands in the north were under the security forces, in the northern peninsula just over 10,000 acres of lands are being held by the forces. Around 18,000 acres of land were reclaimed by the security forces and remaining lands are being relieved in accordance with protocol.
ආරක්ෂක හමුදාවන් විසින් මුදවා හැර තිබෙනවා මේ වන විටත්. ඉතින් මේ ඉඩම් මුදවා හැරීම සිදු කරන්නේ බොහොම ක්‍රමානුකූල ක්‍රියාපටිපාටියකට අනුවයි.
Protests were held in Baduralia to urge the government not to involve persons involved in corruption.
A group of demonstrators who gathered near the Baduralia bus halt later made their way in a procession to the Baduralia police. Thereafter, they staged a protest opposite the Baduralia police station against the manner in which the OIC was carrying out its duties.
The minister who cloaks himself with all that talk of human rights is now in the Kalutara district guarding those thieves and criminals. He took the power of the police into his hands when they were breaking into areas where there were treasure. He has come back to take power into his hands and protect those thugs and those in the underworld. He will give them top positions and they will be taken care of by benefits given through the state.
Chairman of the Deshamamaka Jatika Balawegya organization, Venerable Uwatanne Sumanatera, met with Minister Ravi Karunanayake. During this meeting, he presented a letter which states the fraud, corruption and discrepancies of CMC Councillor Mahinda Kahandagama and others. Meanwhile, the Deshamamaka Jatika Balavegi organization held a demonstration opposite the Fort Railway Station against the illicit collection of money from street vendors in Peta and against the manner in which they were treated in the recent past. The continuous satyagraha carried out by the students of the Open University Collective entered its 31st day today. Students protested against various issues including the increase of course fees and suspension of students. The Student Union of the Sabaragama University and the Student Union of the Rajarata University also showed their support yesterday. Meanwhile, Minister of Education Akila Viraj Karyavasam arrived at the location in order to resolve the matter.
I spoke with the Vice-Chancellor. The Vice-Chancellor agreed to enroll those students who have been suspended. The Vice-Chancellor also agreed to create the necessary platform to address the issues put forth by the Student Union. This is a democratic government. This new government was formed to combat dictatorship. Therefore, we are not prepared to take away the rights of the independence which is in these universities.
Hindu devotees around the world celebrated Mattu Pongal, also known as Patti Pongal, today. Mattu Pongal is for celebration of the cattle, particularly cows and bulls, that play a vital role by working hard to help the farmers to till their fields.
Mattu Pongal is an Indian festival celebrated on the day following the Thai Pongal festival. As part of this festive celebration, it is a custom to clean the paddocks, create kolam designs and make pongal. Prior to making pongal, they wash their cattle and garland them with flowers. Thereafter, families come together to make the pongal. As per tradition, Hindus offer prayers to the gods and feed their cattle thereafter. Mattu Pongal was celebrated across the island today.
An individual suspected of a number of crimes was killed in police fire in the Uvakuda area in Vallavaya.
Police media spokesperson SSP Ajitrona said that a group of police officers had visited the location to apprehend the suspects. He added that as the suspect attempted to flee, the police were compelled to open fire, injuring the suspect. The police media spokesperson said that the suspect succumbed to his injuries upon admission to the Vallavaya Base Hospital. Meanwhile, shots were fired at a group of police officers from Padukka who attempted to seize a stolen van in Natrugiriya. The police media spokesperson said that the location of the stolen vehicle was confirmed through GPS. Police officers attached to Natrugiriya had been in pursuit of the stolen vehicle, and the officers from Padukka too arrived as backup. When the vehicle was to be retrieved, suspects had opened fire at the police, injuring a sub-inspector. SSP Adrona said that one individual had been arrested over the incident, while investigations are underway to locate the other suspect who is at large. About 500 children are receiving their education at present at the Madhavada Mahavidyalaya in Balangoda. This number is exactly half the number of students the school had a year ago. There are various factors which may influence students to leave a school. But according to the parents of students at this school, it is because the school administration has failed to give priority to the needs of the children in the decision-making process. This pit, which was a school playground, bears testament to this failure. Since the latter part of 2015, soil has been excavated from this playground to facilitate the construction of the Hambegamu Road. Due to the lack of a playground, the annual athletics meet of the school was cancelled last year and an art competition was held instead. The art competition may be held this year around too. It is possible that the students may depict the fate that has befallen their playground at this art competition. The playground has been turned into a 20 feet deep pit as a result of continuous excavation over more than 3 years. During the rainy season, the pit filled with water and the school administration dug a drain to drain out the collected water, which in turn caused harm to the only toilet at the school for the administrators.
This did not happen when I was in the school development committee. The secretary before me may have been aware of it. There was talk of a report about it. I looked at the record book, but I'm yet to come across any mention of it.
We could not talk about it all this time. It was covered up by the political authority. If anyone spoke about it, their children could not come to school. There are 3 or 4 people who have been expelled from the school for personal reasons.
In the 1980s, two area residents gifted an acre of land to establish the school playground. According to the plan of the drain that has been dug up, there is no doubt whatsoever that in the event of heavy rain, the school will have to be closed. Who was it that allowed the administration of this school to toy with the children's education and safety by digging this water hole? Minister of Education in the Sabaragamu province, this is over to you. In business news this evening, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, during his meeting with the Chinese ambassador in Colombo, has expressed his willingness to push forward the pragmatic cooperation with China in various fields.
A statement issued by the Chinese embassy in Sri Lanka notes that Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe had said that the Sri Lanka-China friendship is time-tested and of great importance to Sri Lanka when the Chinese ambassador Wu Jianghao called on him recently. The Prime Minister had also expressed hope that more Chinese companies could come to invest and do their business in Sri Lanka, realizing mutual benefit, win-win result and common development. Ambassador Wu said China always attaches great importance to its relations with Sri Lanka, which is a traditional friendly neighbor of China. He said China is willing to further enhance the bilateral ties and enhance collaboration between the two countries.
And in sports, it's rugby. Sri Lanka Navy emerged victorious over the Hambantota Sharks in the second round of the Interclub Rugby League match played today. Sajid Maduranga led the Sailors into today's game.
Week 1 of the second round of matches of the Interclub Rugby League commenced today with an encounter between the Navy Sports Club and the Hambantota Sharks, played at the Navy's home ground, Walisara. Captain of the Sri Lanka Navy team, Yoshita Rajapaksa, did not take part in today's game. At Lemons, the Sailors led the game 43-0 and went on to win 125-7. The Navy's win comprised of 19 tries and 15 conversions. Incidentally, this is the largest victory margin achieved this season. Kandy SC continues to lead the points table with Navy SC a close second.
Well, with that, we wrap up primetime news here at News First. For the News First team, I'm Florine Rajendran.
And I'm Joel Outscoon. Have yourself a lovely weekend ahead. Take care and good night.